Okay, so make sure you have hair, teeth, and shading written. When it comes to hair, I know there's lots of different hair types. So some of your people like may have like an afro, or they may have like really tight curls, or like cornrows, or their hair is just like straight and silky. Um, I'm gonna teach you how to do like a type of curl. Also, facial hair too. Sometimes, if it's a guy, there's like a beard or they'll have like a mustache. So I'll go over that. But if there's a specific type of hair, like type, that you just can't get and you need my help, I can help you with that. You'll just have to ask me. So, when it comes to hair, you kind of want to break it down into like sections or like clumps basically. So instead of just going into your person and like coloring the hair, like this, like in just one big chunk, you kind of want to break it down into sections. So start with like the bangs, or like this top section of the hair, or like the piece like right against their neck. So you kind of want to try and section it as much as possible, um, because there are different colors in the hair. Nobody's hair is just flat one color. There's normally like a couple of colors that you can see, especially like when the light hits it. And it's not going to be like flat one color unless your picture is taken with like really dramatic lighting and there's like shadows and they're like backlit. Their hair may look like it's all one color, but most of the time you can see like highlights and things like that. So you're going to section it off. And actually, I'll show you with an ebony pencil. Okay, so say I have my section of hair. So I've drawn like a little chunk or like a strand. How you're gonna start off with shading it. You're basically working from like opposite corners and you're blending to the middle. So, you always want to start light because you can go heavier later. It's a lot easier to add value than it is to take it off the paper and erase it. So you always want to work light first. So just in the corners, I'm going to add like a little bit of value, and then either using your fingers or you can use the little like paper blending tools. I am just going to blend that color towards the middle. So now I just have a base color. So it's not like the white of my paper, it has a little bit of color. I'm just doing a texture of more like straight hair, and then I'll show you kind of like a curl. So if it's just more like straight hair or like wavy, you're going to be doing lines. So coming from the corners, I'm going to start going in with actual brush strokes to get like the pattern or like the texture of hair. So I'm going from one corner, and I'm also going to do it from this bottom section too. So I'm going up. You do, but instead of having like a chunk of hair like that and doing it first, it looks better, it works better, more natural if you have that like base value. So you want to make sure you're not starting from just a white paper and adding strokes. It also helps to have different sections because your hair isn't like one big piece. It's lots of different strands. So sometimes it'll like wave to the left, and then you'll have a piece right next to it that's going straight, or you'll have like a piece that's wrapping around it like a curl. So the more sections you have, like the more you're grouping it, the more natural it's going to look. Then I'm going to darken up the corners a little bit more because you want those really dark darks. And then also there's highlights. So sometimes light hits the hair, so I'll go in with an eraser and I'll pull out those highlights. That looks a little bit more natural than if you just started coloring hair like that. So getting a base color down first, then adding strands. Yes. I would add base color first. Don't just start with the white of the paper and start doing strands. If you're doing curls, what you can do, or braids, if there's braids, you kind of make these like almost like triangles. So, like if you look, I did like Beyonce last year, and she has braids. So they can be kind of like sections, like these little, almost like curved triangles. If you're doing an actual curl, sometimes it's almost like a C, and they're just switching which direction they're going in. I will link a website that has, or it explains how to do like different types of hair and how to shade. So I'm gonna link that, and it should have a curl pattern as well. It really just depends, because some people have like the really, really tight curls. Some people have like the looser like waves. Oh, I love that the screen just did that.
So for the waves, like, how do you put for the waves?
I don't know why my screen just did that. That was weird. Okay. If you have wavy hair, it's going to be the same thing as this, basically. So instead of having like strands that are more like straight, they may just be more like
Like an S.
yeah, like more like wobbly. And then you're doing that same thing where you're starting with the color at the edges, blending it. And then instead of your lines being more like straight down, they're going to be like curling around the edges. Like that. So it's just more like wobbly, your lines basically. Yeah, more like S's, yeah. You can think like S's and C's, like the letters, when you're doing like curls and waves.
So the other S's, like the strands, like from the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, teeth, I showed you guys briefly on the board. So instead of drawing like actual lines like this, that looks a little scary. No one's teeth are really like that. You're gonna focus more on the upside down, oh my goodness, triangles in between the spaces of the teeth. So instead of focusing on drawing the lines, you're focusing on the shadows to give the illusion of teeth. So you're not like actually drawing them. You're just like kind of suggesting that they're there. So you're basically shading upside down triangles to give the illusion of teeth. And sometimes you'll see like a little line like at the bottom. So I would focus more on the shadows. If they're smiling with their mouth open, some of you guys do have that, and so they have their teeth. At the corners of the mouth is where there's going to be a lot of shadow. So, like their top lip, like that. And then their teeth are, here. At the outer corners, where the top and bottom lip meet, oh my goodness, English. Where the top and bottom lip meet, at the outer corners, you're not really going to see the teeth there. It's going to start kind of like fading into just shadows. So you're going to see a lot of like darkness, a lot of shadows at the outer corners. And then when it comes to shading, because you're wanting to shade the whole person, so not just like the hair, you're wanting to do everything. Also clothing. So if they're wearing like a darker shade of clothing, like if it's a man and he's wearing like a black suit, you're gonna color the suit black. If they're wearing like a gray shirt, you're gonna do like a mid-tone value. If they're wearing like a white turtleneck, then you're not really gonna add color there. You can change like the color or how dark you do the shirt if it's gonna put more emphasis on your person. So I think in this photo, she was actually wearing a black turtleneck, but I thought that that wasn't gonna like make her face stand out as much. It was gonna look weird and you wouldn't really be able to see her hair down here. So instead I drew it so that she was wearing like a lighter outfit. So if you need to do that, you can. If they're having like a crazy pattern on their shirt, someone in another class said like that the guy she was drawing had like plaid pattern, or it may have been this class, I don't remember. You can go without like doing crazy patterns. So if you can't get like the plaid pattern, don't worry about it. The main emphasis of this is just drawing and adding value to their face. So if their outfit, or like if they're wearing a crazy necklace and it's just too hard, you can kind of just like change it a little bit to make it easier. But the areas of shadow where you're gonna focus, you want to basically color. And honestly, this is pretty light. Like I think I needed to go darker with some of these values. So if you're thinking about like this value range, like and how dark you need to be doing, like your darkest darks are like you are pressing the pencil like as hard as you possibly can. And then you're going from that dark all the way to like the midtones and then into like the very lightest possible. So you want the full range of value. Your darks, like your shadows, need to be dark. Like press hard with the pencil. You can build it up, so start light first and then make things darker. But where you're gonna see the shadow the most, it's gonna be around the eyes, around the nose, the lips, and specifically like underneath, so like the chin. It's also gonna be their neck. So where their head like meets their neck, normally because your chin juts out, your neck goes back, you're gonna see shadows right there. And then obviously if you see any with like the ears or like around the hairline, or if there's shadows like on their collarbones or like their shirts. But mainly when it comes to the face, it's gonna be around the eyes, nose, lips, and like their chin, so where their lips cast a shadow onto their chin, and then, around their neck. So make sure you're paying attention to those areas. When you finish gridding your paper, you are drawing your person, just the outline. You're not adding value yet. Once you have drawn the outline of your person, you're gonna go back and erase the grid marks before you start adding value. Because your final, you don't want a bunch of grid lines like going through the person. You want to just see their face. So erase the grid marks, then add the value. Does anyone have questions? Okay, I was videoing this, so I'll post it on the Google Classroom, so in case you were like on your phone and not paying attention and you're like, what? You can watch it later or not, I don't know. Raise your hand if you need help, let me know. If you have not already emailed me a picture of your person, please do that so I can print it out. This is due before we leave for Christmas break. You have about 2 weeks. Do realize it's not just drawing your person. You have to make a collage for the background. So you are doing something for the background. It's not going to take as much time as drawing the person. That's the thing that's going to take the most time. But don't think that this is all you have to do for the project. There's another step. So just keep that in mind. Be aware that we do have like 2-ish weeks left.